Hey there, Brian. I'll just start with just towards the end there. Is there frustration, inability for someone to get a foot on that ball that's pinging around on your defensive end there?
You want to talk about the second goal?
Yeah. Second goal.
Okay.
Sorry, Brian. There.
It's a great way to start. Great way to start, Maz. Because, look, I can shoulder a lot of the blame for this because the set piece goal, the set pieces that they started, obviously the team wasn't prepared. And so that's on me. That goal came from a throw-in. And our setup on that throw-in, anybody can see it, was all wrong. We had Obed on the wrong side of the ball, Albert on the wrong side of the ball, center forward on the wrong side of the ball, Jesus Ferreira on the wrong side of the ball. Christian goes up and challenges. There's a gaping hole on top of the box. Ymar's got to step out. Now he's out of position. Nobody wins the duels in there. And then the sequence of, the ball bouncing around the box, then you can start to pick that apart. But the mistake happened way up here or out by the touchline. And I don't know who could have kept the ball in or not or whatever. I don't know. I didn't see that far in advance. But that's a terrible goal. That is an absolute terrible, terrible, terrible goal to give up. So that won't happen again. And then since we're on the goals, we'll just go to the first one. Was it a foul? Was it not a foul? Some of the fans were upset about the refereeing. The referees don't lose games. They had a trick play. It was a trick play. And, our guys' ability to, understand and have vision in their defending and understand where the dangerous spaces are, where their players are. How about this? Just simple body language cues. When Paul Rothrock sprints to the ball, the guy wasn't ready to shoot. He doesn't need to do that, and they pass it right back to Paintsel. And then Kalani's tucked inside. Somebody comes out there. Kalani has no idea the guy's on the left. And then Steph's got to cover the near post, but there's nobody now in the goal, and it's life or death in the penalty box. Somebody's got to win that header. And they put us under pressure from some of their corner kicks. So we will be prepared for the remainder of the year because I understand the importance of set pieces, and throw-ins are actually a set piece, and we'll make sure we're better.
All right, Jada, over to you.
Brian, kind of going a little bit more on that, obviously you guys had a layoff here, but it seems like some of the frustration in your voice might be just from basic defensive errors that the team shouldn't have made?
No, it's a team sport, Jada. We could have had 3 goals, 4 goals in the first half. It's the same thing. Look, the attacking guys didn't, they weren't immune from some of my words after the game. I mean, they have to make plays. That's their job. Danny Masowski has 16 goals for this club. Could have had 18. Could have tied. Is it 18? Is it
19?
19? Okay. Jesus has 5 goals, 10 assists. That's great. People were, talking about him at the beginning of the year. He's contributed. He's done a great job. But, I need him to do more. Games like this, he's got to do more.
Tim.
Coach, it seemed like the Galaxy were really compressing the field around the midfield line, making it tough to play through the middle of the field.
What part of the game? First half, second half?
Particularly in the first half, but
Okay.
It seemed like some of the changes in the second half addressed that, finding pockets to play in. How did you adjust to find better footing, particularly?
Well, we just needed to play a little bit better. I don't think we played up to our level. There's some part of me that wants to give them a little bit of leeway because it was an emotional victory. They're on a high. The first game back's always going to be tricky. This was a trap game from the beginning. But I'm not going to sit there and let them get away with some of the sloppy touches, some of the mistakes that we made, just not to build our possession. I don't know what the possession stats were in the first half, but I know LA had the ball way more than we did. Okay, and then we started chasing, and then they get tired, and their legs get heavy, and their minds get tired. So that was a cycle we were trying to break in the second half. The tweaks were just to kind of figure out how to and when to get Obed higher up the field, because him and Christian have to play as 2 pivots first, and then we rotate him up. And then I didn't wait too long because Reed was on a yellow and stuff like that, so we changed the game, brought Albert on, and, at that point, the game went in our favor. But if we're talking about the subs, subs are going to go out there to change games, but they fell into the trap of, we were all over them in the second half. Guys were trying to score the third goal, which I appreciate. Nothing wrong with that. But we were winning. We didn't have to score 3. We could have kept it at 2. We could have passed them to death, and then the gaps would have been bigger, and then the third goal might have been a little easier.
All right, Nico Antune, I see your hand raised on Zoom. We'll go to yours next and then continue on this side of the room. Nico, go ahead, please. Nico, you have to bring yourself off mute or I'm moving on.
Sorry. Got it.
Go.
Brian, a couple good saves from Stephen Fry and a goal from Jesus Ferreira. Wanted to get your thoughts on their performance today, and if you could also comment on Reed Baker-Whiting.
Steph was fine. Like I said, I pulled Reed because he was on a yellow. Jesus, again, I talked about it already, 5 goals, 10 assists. He was good. Inserting Albert, getting 2 guys that can possess the ball on the field. That was our intent, to try and close out the game, but it just didn't happen.
All right, we'll continue down this side. Do you still have one, Diego?
Buenas noches. Dejando de lado el partido de hoy, que me parece es un buen resultado, se han escuchado algunas voces respecto a que, debido a la gran campaña que ha hecho en la Leagues Cup y que está haciendo actualmente en esta temporada, que podría ser quizás el futuro técnico de la selección nacional de Estados Unidos. ¿Ha pensado en eso y, de ser así, aceptaría la propuesta?
Aside from today's game, that I think it was still a good result, there are rumors about, due to the good Leagues Cup campaign and the current MLS campaign as well, that there could be an offer for you to take on the national team. And if that would happen, would you take it?
There's no chance that they would take me as a national team coach. Flattered that you asked the question, but it's not realistic. It's not realistic. So Pochettino is going to do a great job. I have all the confidence in the world that the United States are going to get their team together. They're the host country, one of the host countries, and the players that he selects are all going to play for the badge. We're going to have a very good World Cup. It will be with Pochettino and his staff.
No hay ningún tipo de posibilidad. Me halaga que hagas una referencia a eso, sin embargo no es realista, no es algo que vaya a pasar. Y tengo toda la confianza en el actual entrenador y en el equipo, que va a dar todo por el escudo nacional y que van a jugar para ganar. Tengo toda la confianza en Pochettino y sé que él lo va a hacer perfectamente bien.
I do hope Christian's part of that.
Y estoy seguro que Christian va a ser parte de eso. O espero que Christian sea parte de eso, mejor dicho.
Other questions over here? Yeah, George.
So, Coach, looking forward to the game against Miami, are you thinking of rotating the team? And it seems like in the last few games, players from Mexico and Miami were kind of directing Obed, if you saw that as well, or if you're trying to prevent that in some way, although it's not really preventable.
I'm not so sure Obed is being targeted. I think the frustrations that built in the Miami game were because, Miami, they're a proud team. Those players have played at the highest levels. And when a young player comes and gives them some challenges, sometimes that gets frustrating. I don't think they're targeting them at all. And as far as rotation is concerned, things have changed. We needed those 3 points, so we'll see the best team out there for Miami and Austin. Those are going to be 2 challenging road games.
All right, we'll swing back over here. Jada, I think you got to follow up. Maza, see you. We have time for a few more. We'll start with Jada.
Brian, does that mean the needing points and the things changing, does that mean also in goal? Like, does that mean that Andrew would get a chance on Tuesday then, or?
I'm not going to give away my lineup, Jada. Steph has deserved the chance to, come back in goal and play some games. And I'm not putting the blame on Steph for the 2 goals. So it's healthy competition between Steph and Andrew. We'll see how long that goes. Or if there's no competition, then I'll make the announcement that Steph will continue for the rest of the year and Andrew will be ready in case something bad happens. But it's way too early for that.
And then as far as you were able to get Jordan onto the field, I know it was very limited minutes. I know he had an attempt, but how did you feel? Or
He was
any
fine.
kind
I
of
loved
comment
it
on
that the
him?
crowd acknowledged both him and Albert come back on the field. I think we created some good moments. Look, I'm kind of in a bad mood. But look, if Georgie scores the bicycle kick, everybody's going to talk about, oh, what a great sub it was. But then Georgie, a little more composure. Can him and Nuhu, they're good friends, good teammates. Can they be a little bit more effective? I mean, we've got some other issues, but overall, this was, just the 2 goals we gave away and then not finishing our chances. I mean, Jordan's header was good, but he was a little far out. But, I'm happy to have all those guys back and happy to be able to look down the bench and bring quality players on.
Mas.
Brian, not to continue keeping your bad mood, but you did have Obed in the second half. Obed was pushed up. What was missing in you being able to sustain possession? Because Albert was up front. And
Decision-making. The guys were, again, the game got a little easy for them in the second half. And, sometimes they were trying to do too much or, every possession at 2-1, when you're a goal up, every possession should be 20, 30 passes long. Wear them out. Gaps are going to get bigger. Come on the left side. It's not on, bring it back out. Go to the right side. Overload the right side. If it's not on, bring it back through Ymar, pivot out to the other side. When you do that 2 or 3 times, their defenders will get heavy legs, and the gaps are going to get bigger.
All right, let's leave it there. Thanks all. Locker room's
Thanks,
open.
everybody.